Because the only reason why we have black churches are because white people want to put us in the balcony. They didn't want to serve us communion. They didn't want to baptize us in the same baptismal founts as their children, right? Black churches exist as a response to white Christian terrorism. Black churches exist not because black people just wanted to worship together, because we liked our own music and we liked the way we worship. No, we could not worship in peace in white spaces. Therefore, we understood we needed a relationship with God, a relationship with Jesus, and so we built places where we could do it on our own, right? And as long as white supremacy is still denying black folk opportunities, black folk access, an unfettered access to God, we need those faith spaces, those sacred spaces where we can do that kind of work, right? Until there is no greater force against racism in this country than black churches have been. Right? And as long as there's still religious bigotry and predation, as long as there's still social discrimination and political disenfranchisement, we will need some versions of the black church in order for black people to get home safe.
That's right. That's exactly right.
When you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud too.
I'm your biggest fan. I hope it falls into place just how you planned it. Life could put you in a pickle, just make sure it's kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw the clip. Jim Crow Jesus. You know, praise Jim Crow Jesus. Some of y'all, because people don't think about history as much anymore, don't remember that old quote. I want to say by Brother Malcolm that the most segregated day in America is church on Sunday. And a lot of y'all don't realize it, but y'all, you know, some people don't care. Let's just be honest, you know. They say America's religion is Christianity, but in my opinion, America's religion is capitalism. Because money came before God every day in this country, and still does. So what I'm getting to is this. When we're trying to, you know, figure out how we got here and why people, you know, think this or that, have racial issues or reparations conversations, it's because of stuff like this. See, this country couldn't even worship God without racism. They couldn't. So, and when people talk about this is reverse racism and why do we see black people doing this and black people here, and how come they're not integrating with society? Well, you know, think about it. Jim Crow and civil rights, and after civil rights, we worship God separately. So if we can't even worship God together, then what does that tell you? You know, what's more important? God or a caste system? God or racism? God or capitalism? What's more important? And then when people go, well, I don't understand why you black people do what you do. And it's like, hey, man, we got loud and clear that we're not a part of this American society. Now now we've entered the age of, you know, non-denominational churches, and people are a bunch of ethnic groups, racial groups and ethnic groups, and even people who are heterosexual and homosexual are all under the same roof in the church, which in my opinion in some ways is good, and in other ways it's not necessarily to worship God. It's more so to make money. You know, non-denominational churches are bigger and have more people so they can get more tithes and offerings. That's just my thought on it. But when a nation is segregated when it comes to heaven and hell, what do you think is going to happen? You got to think about it. Like all of your Klans members went to church. All of your Nazis and neo-Nazis have gone to church or go to church. All of your people who use their positions to further their racism go to church. And do they go to church with somebody that looks like them and somebody that doesn't? Or just with somebody that looks like them? 9 times out of 10, somebody that looks like them. So if Jesus couldn't even get past Jim Crow and racism, that should tell us all we need to know. And, you know, the Bible does say Jesus is black, but I'm using this for a reference for something else. Like, if Jesus was walking around right now and he got an unjust and unlawful death penalty sentence and he was black, you would definitely get the, you should have complied, watch what you're doing, that follow instructions next time, or the racial epithets, or people coming around, calling them a dindu or whatever goes on, whatever racist trope somebody else is rolling with, all of that's gonna happen. So at the end of the day, Jesus couldn't beat Jim Crow. And you think about religion as far as, even in Jim Crow, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, his brother Alfred King, Fred Hampton, people that you would say were good men, and most of them were very religious men, assassinated. So what does that say about this country? This country doesn't want peace. This country doesn't want love for all mankind. This country, if this country were to, in my opinion, get judged by God, it'll be going to hell. But beyond that, the delusion is so far gone that you have people to this day who do the wrong thing to somebody because of, the differences or whatever in appearance, and still use God as a reference. Like, yeah, I'm gonna screw this old person over because they're not in my group, blah, blah, blah. And then at the same time, I'm gonna praise them for being so resilient, man. They fight through anything. It's like, this is gonna wind up ending horribly, because what happens when the world understands that, God is just a scapegoat we use in this country to forgive us for our evil doings. And at the end of the day, it's the rest of the world's fault that is going on. But, they should do something about it. So now, there's really not much to do but deal with the fallout. Because the standards have gone down the tubes, the morals have gone down the tubes, the idea of learning religion has gone down the tubes, and people weren't learning religion in a general sense. Because I was at work recently and I was like, still the pastor don't go from Genesis to Revelations in a year. It's always jumping back and forth and back and forth and forth and back and back and forth and forth and back between that book, and telling you something that you think makes sense, but it doesn't fit the context of what it was written for, then you're just wasting your time too. But I'm going to leave it at that. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm going to tell you that.